to generate more income. My sister was here, it's a private sector. If there's no students, they're worried. If NSFAS is not paying for more than 3 months, they're worried, even the other funders. Normally when I present, I don't dwell much on NSFAS. I take NSFAS as another funder or bursaries with its own conditions. The third income stream, which normally we are battling as universities and define it right, to say what's the third income stream? Others, they take the second one like accommodation, third income stream. But we can't say no. To say, yes, I don't have it. You've got 20,000 students, undergraduate about 19,000. You only have 1,000 beds. If you go and expand, isn't that a third income stream? Because you are investing for something to generate. The issue of the institutional enterprise, majority of the university, they are starting now to have their own companies because they want to focus on the mainstream of the teaching and learning and research and development. But however, to commercialize the other programs, like short learning programs, which are not accredited in terms of the DHET requirements. Those are short learning programs. Others are also expanding in such a way that the product that they produce through the research and development, now they can actually sell. It's a third income stream. You can move. What happened now when we look at the block grant? I think in all the universities so far, in the next 3 years, actually started last year, the block grant it's reducing from last year. They had last year, around October, November, they called all of us. They cut almost 2 billion rand. Yeah, to all universities and TVET colleges. They just announced that, hey, Treasury doesn't have money. If I look at my university this year, there was a cut. Next year, almost 15% cut. When I check with the others universities, between 10 to 15% cut. But however, they are indicating the area they are cutting, the enrollment and the performance and so forth. What does mean that we can't rely on it? This obviously, it creates problem to the universities because we normally banked on the government grant. The block grant, it means that now you can't predict in terms of the growth. You can't predict that you're going to receive it in the 2025. It's a big problem. If you could go to the next slide. The issue about the tuition fees, those challenges that we are facing now, you know, when you look at the inflation and you look at the charge that we are charging per course is now not corresponding well. The DHET just decided to say, no, you can't go over 4.5. But the municipality, how much is it? The ESCOM, 11%, 13%, 30%, 36% next 3 years. You add your tuition fees increase 4.5 multiplied by 3. The unions, they will tell you the average will be 7% salary increases. You can't do job cut. Those are the areas that we are facing, all of us as universities as well. I think you could see also when it comes to the issue of the tuition fees, it's not only NSFAS, even the other bursaries now are starting not coming on board. They are no longer coming on board to fund the students. If students are not performing, they also defund, not only NSFAS. I'm doing well in terms of time. Can you go to the next slide? Also, this one is a big problem as well. When the students are not funded, it created problems in the institutions. By the beginning of the year, around February, March, April, the student was funded. Now coming around April, May, June, students no longer funded. It caused problems now from the providers coming to the university. Who do they come to? Financial aid. They come to financial aid. Also, this is a stress. Initially, I think we used to pay in advance. Ne? We used to transfer the money with the view that the money will come through. But now we don't. I don't think there's any institution that have got a good financial reserve so far in terms of the cash. If you go to the next one. But also, based on that, these are the real challenges that we have as a higher education. The cost of salaries, I don't think in the next 3 years will actually afford. Majority of universities are between 68 to 70%. In the next 3 years will be around 75%. What does it mean? It means that your operational cost, it keep on going down. You won't able even to maintain. You won't even able to invest. And also, there will be time that comes. Normally, they pay around April. Ne? Yeah, it's April because their books start from April to March. They pay you the last tranches around December. It means that if you don't have reserves, January, February, there will be time that employer will say, can we make an arrangement? There's one municipality that could not get paid last month in Joburg. It's because of the cash. There's no cash. We are very crucial in this one. Also, the issue of the operational cost, as I indicated, that it keep on rising up, others by 2 digits, but our increase is about 3 to 4%. Next year, in terms of the fee compact, our tuition fees go by 4.5, 4.6, and you can't go over than that. If you go over than that, you're in trouble. The issue of the academic performance, it has impact because this failure rate of the students, it got impact on funding, and it come back to us. Come the beginning of the year, if they are not funded, then it's a problem when you do your the admission. The funding of NSFAS, I think the other thing I wish the NSFAS were here. Before we go into deeper of these issues, we used to blame NSFAS before. But when you look at the exceptions report, how you'll see that they are right. Majority of exception reports indicate that exceeded N plus or whatever. When you go zoom on those students, they started in 2019. If you count for 3-year qualification, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, they are on year 6 on a qualification of 3 years. Or obviously, NSFAS already gave them a grace period for year 4. And we keep on bombarding the NSFAS with a lot of emails. Can you look at the data? Otherwise, they will ignore our emails. Look at the data. Have one-on-one with the student to say, but can you see that you didn't even write exam last, you just came and registered and get the funding. That's what's happening. Go deeper. Also, certain things is just clear. And they will keep on sending. Now, students no longer send the emails to you. They send directly now to the executives and the VCs. They bypass even the dean of students. I think what you need to do as a fees and financial aid, We must be transparent, have meetings with the SRC through those forums that we have. If you've got student finance forums, discuss about these things together with the dean of students. Don't run away, because they're going to come to your office in numbers. Once you exist one student, you will see 20 will be coming, 30 will be coming, 100 will be coming, but the same problems. Can you go to the next one? You can go to the last one. But what is the strategy for enhancing this financial sustainability? I think we need to work together here. My sister was here, talk about how beautiful her accommodation is. If I may ask her, how many students are you funding per university? I'm not talking about only her, even FNB, all of them. I think next time around when they come, we need to say, you are getting business from the university. Can you show us? That is also including all the suppliers who got tenders from the university. We are giving you a tender for 15 million. You want to tell me that you can't even fund one of the students for 25,000 rand tuition fees? That is the area as a financial aid in order to assist as well the university on financial sustainability. Those landlords that you are paying, in our university we are paying almost 700 million going to the accommodation, private accommodation. I asked them this question, how many students do you have? You are actually funding none. But you miss 1 month, even a day, there will be a threat of evictions. I think what we need to do in this case is another matrix that we can use to say, if the university is facing these other challenges, what best can we get to whoever we have on our systems to fund the students? Either give them allowances. Allowance is not about cash, it's about also give them accommodations and so forth. That will resolve these issues. Thank you very much. I think my time is up. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Just hang on, Mr. Mili. We sometimes have to ask hard questions. But I think the reality of it is that we need to have robust discussions around the sustainability of the whole process. So they do their thing there. So at the end of the day, I think it's important for us to understand that we are a network of functionalities. We are a whole ecosystem. And the one is dependent on the other. But I think the good news, Mr. Mili, is the fact that there are discussions happening at the moment, in particular with corporates, that are showing interest in coming on board, to discuss, not only just discuss, but also show their support for any initiative for that matter that can, for example, deal with the issue of historic debt, etc. But that we will hear a little bit more a little bit later from our stakeholders from Phoenix. Can I now call on our stakeholder Fundi to do a presentation for us? Are you ready? Yeah, you can go. You can clap. I see the noise is going down like a Mexican wave. Starting here and going down. Are you ready, sir? Thank you so much. Are you still with me? Don't leave me behind now. Remember, we don't leave anyone behind. Thank you, sir. All yours.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Just waiting for my presentation to be shown. My name is Zaf. Some of you know me from Fundi. There's two divisions at Fundi. We have Fundi Lending, which deals with student applying for loans to pay tuition, to pay for accommodation, or anything that has to do with education. And then I come from a division called Fundi Business. The Fundi Business, that's where we work with you as colleagues on the disbursements and other things. So today I'm going to highlight some of the things that we have come up with. Innovation is part of our business. We innovate all the time because, as you know, things change and there's a need in the country for a lot of things. I can see myself, but not my presentation. All right. You can see even the slides are a bit fancy. You can click on FAS first, and then it will move on. FAS is what most of you are familiar with. It's the fund administration system that we use to do the disbursements to students. Some is for cash that we're able to pay into their banking details. So the students will log into the system, upload their banking details, we do the verifications, and then you give us the money, we give them the money. And also, this system is also used for those that are on a Fundi card, the managed spend. They make sure that the students don't use the money for what it's not meant for. Okay, so in this card, it's like a debit card, but very fancy in a way that we create pockets in it. Pocket for accommodation, for technology, that you can buy laptops at SMD and whoever. And they can use that specifically for what it's meant for. And you have access to the system to pull out the report to see how much you've spent on the student and if the student has spent that money. I was chatting with someone earlier that we can also, with our IT guys, zoom in and see exactly what is it that the students are buying at Pick and Pay or all the stuff, so that we can make sure that they don't buy those things that they're not supposed to. You'll be amazed what students buy. They'll go and buy microwaves and all these things that they're not supposed to buy. So we are able to do that. Okay. I think the person that's controlling this is going very faster than myself. Because we are now already at the accommodation, unaccredited accommodation providers. Anyway, we also have an accommodation platform that some of you are using it, where your merchants, we call them merchants, the accommodation providers, have registered on it, and they can be able to check also that the students have released the money, and they can pull out the reports. You also can do that. And our friends at, I think, CPUT will know about these unaccredited accommodation providers, and some of you do have these accommodation providers, but you don't know them. So this system helps you to know who they are and where your students are staying. So you are able to manage that. And as you can see, I think CUT as well does use these unaccredited merchants also. You know what I'm talking about, accreditation. That's the ones that you give accreditation, and those are the students that are staying at the backroom landowners and all that stuff. But we manage it in the sense that you're able to know where your students are and that it's safe for them. So it's easier to manage. You can move on to the next one. It's pretty much the same thing. Okay, and then we do also have what we call Fundi Connect. This Fundi Connect is an online and youth support platform where the universities can show or when they open for applications and when the applications are going to close. So it's like an information hub for the students. Even the likes of the banks and everybody, they also advertise on this, those that are targeting the students. So that's what we use the Fundi Connect for. Okay, can move on to the next one. Okay, now this one is very interesting. I'm sure you've also read, maybe it has improved. They said there's a like 60% rate or dropout rate in universities because I remember a few years back I'm going to use TUT because that's where I was, and I was talking to some of the students and asking them, what are you studying? Almost all of them were studying HR, right? It's like, wow, that's very interesting. Do you know how many people are in HR in a company? Very few. So if all of you are studying HR, it means you're going to be out of job. You won't find a job. And I asked them, some of them, why do you study it? Well, that was the only thing that's open for me to study. And the psychometric test that we run, it makes sure that the student knows who they are and what they are capable of, and they can study exactly what's going to be good for them. It's not like blindly, I'm going to study accounting because I know accountants make money. And you get there, you see the accountants work very hard to make that money. And you are a lazy person, then it becomes a problem. So it points them to where they're supposed to go, their strong points, and it helps them to choose a career. Okay. The next one, please. Okay. It's the same, sorry. Okay. So this one, the Fundi Bursary Management, it's what I've spoken about. That I think that the slides were running faster than I was. Okay. So we do manage funds on behalf of some of you as universities. And also we manage funds for some of the corporate companies where they give us the funds and we do the disbursements on their behalf, and they just pull out the reports and see that everything is okay. Okay, now this is a new, remember I spoke about we innovate. So we've come up with a new product that's specifically for students, affordable healthcare for students, Fundi Health. Yeah, I think the next slide, please. Yes, you can see it. It's targeted at students. The premium is from 210 to 279 per month for students. It's like, in medical aid, sometimes if you have this, our friends in Sentin in that big building, Discovery, you pay a lot of money for medical aid that you don't use every month. And perhaps your children are part of that, you're paying more than 1,000 for them. This one is very affordable for the students. So any student can join it, and we're speaking to international students as well. As far as I can remember, they have to show that they do have medical aid cover if they want to study. So this speaks to them. I know a lot of people, when we speak to them about this one, they say, oh, can I also change from Discovery to this because this is very affordable? Unfortunately, no, it's only for students. So that's what we've come up with this. Okay, the next one, please. Okay, the ebooks are coming. As you can see, I'm sure some of your universities also do have online classes that can be also, students can be able to access books online. They don't have to have a physical book. And that's what we have, yes. Next one, please. Okay, you can go to the next slide. This one specifically was put together for the missing middle. So at Fundi, we have come up with a product that can help them to be able to get a student loan to pay for their tuition or whatever it is that they need. And it's very affordable. Also, they need to be earning about 2,500 and all that stuff. So we are not as tough as the banks are when we look at this, because we know it's an investment as the previous speakers have spoken about, when that student graduates and they be able to take care of themselves, take care of their siblings and all that. So that's an investment that we've come up with. Yes. Next one. Okay, that's all. If there's any questions, if you come around the corner, there are freebies on our table. Even some chocolates and sweets. It's that time of the day when it's just like you're feeling sleepy, but you are welcome to come to our desk.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that presentation. I think it was very delightful.
No questions.
Is there any questions, guys? Will you go to our exhibit at the back there and pose your questions there? It's got a surprise for you there. Let me just grab my program. Are we still together? Should I say stand up, sit? Stand up. No, we're adults. Hey, no. You see? Yeah. Saw it coming. We're almost there. Okay, let me just drive the ship in the right direction. We'll have Phoenix up next. They'll come and do a presentation for us. We're really privileged to have them here as well. So you can see we sort of touching all angles here. We're in the current and then we're also in the past, speaking, historic date, factors that plays into the spectrum. So, yeah, we're good to go. Thank you so much. Give them a hand, come on. Thank you so much.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Lovely to see you all again. It's been a while. I am very short, so for everyone at the back where I've been sitting, guys, I'm sorry, you probably can't see me, so you'll just need to tune into my voice. Yanga is just setting up at the back quickly, and then we can get going. But I think in the meantime, while we're waiting to get set up, I just want to give a special shout out to the FAPSA board. Thank you so much for having us again. I've said this many, many times, but FAPSA is literally our favorite conference of the year. I think yes, congratulations. The insights that you share, how you push the program, how you're okay to make people feel uncomfortable with the questions that we need to dive into is something we highly respect, and we really enjoy being a part of this. Kali, we've been stalking you on email, but you've been so accommodating. Jay, thank you so much for going above and beyond. So just to everyone, thank you so much for having us. Ooh, it's weird seeing myself on screen. You know what I mean? Like, oh, guys, it is late in the afternoon. Like, whatever. Let's just get this. We're all like looking forward to taking. I don't know what's going on with the weather outside, but is it? Yes, that's a great one. Let's keep it on that. Until we get to the presentation. Okay. I think, Yanga, you let me know when we're ready. Okay, I'm not going to try to tell lame jokes. Sorry, I'm not that girl. So in the meantime, we'll just wait. I wonder, maybe what I can do is I can skip through some things a little bit. Okay, let me not get distracted. So Phoenix has been in existence since 2017. We've been working with the 26 public universities since then. We're not yet in the TVET institutions. Just as a disclaimer, we aren't there yet. Emphasis on the word yet. But I think for all the new faces that I don't know yet, I think just to introduce myself, my name is Cora. I am the CEO of Phoenix. I did not start that way. I actually joined as the student manager back in 2018, where I was responsible. I was the manager of no one. We were a tiny little team of 8 people. That was how the organization started. And we we just created everything from the ground up because we really believed in championing students. We believed in being a part of the solution. Fees Must Fall was happening. We needed to step up. We couldn't rely on government. And so I kind of joined the fight in that and joined this like random edtech startup and took a risk. And I've never looked back. So I was, with the CEO at the time. We were in our car on a flight and traveling to all of you and getting to know you and begging you to open the door to these people you didn't know. And thank you so much for taking a chance on us. And thank you so much for trusting us. And I'm excited to share with you actually the impact that's happened and some of the cool ideas we have on how we can be better. But yeah, I started, I think, where I always wanted to start, which is with the students, with all of you on the ground, and then I got groomed into the CEO role, which I've now held for the last 2 years. What a change. But here we are. This is definitely one of my highlights, to be back with all of you. We're good to go. Okay, so I think I don't have a lot of time, so let me just try to champion through. So please kick me off when you need to kick me off. Okay, so I think I want to introduce you to some people, some of my favorite people. This is Itumeleng. He is now a lawyer. Then I want to introduce you to Anka. She graduated in B-Commerce. This is Samkelo. I was chatting to him this morning. He graduated in film. This is Ntombi. I'm sure you would have seen her hero video at some point. Not only has she graduated with her master's in chemical engineering, but she had a daughter, bought her first car, and she started her own business in child literacy, and she's published 3 children's books. Yep. This is in computer science and is working, of course. We like those IT people. This is Bracken. He graduated in game design. This is Nastasha. She graduated also in B-Commerce. Her family went through a very traumatic divorce. Mother had multiple children. She needed to get through university and was able to get her to graduate. And this is Penyo with his beautiful mom at graduation. It actually took him 7 years to graduate because he struggled with his mental health. And he graduated also recently in B-Commerce. And I want to tell you, so maybe just go back to their faces. Do you know what they all have in common? You. You are what is in common. None of these students had a shot until you told them about Phoenix. These are students that were not A students. Bracken and Anka, white students. No one was going to give them a bursary. Ntombi, who masters in chemical engineer, that you guys gave an applause to, not an A student. No one wanted to give her a bursary. Penyo, 7 years, past the minimum. Who was going to fund him? He fundraised so much for his studies that he donated 10,000 Rand of his excess funds to another student at his university. And the stories go on. Nastasha, her mom approached her colleagues with her Phoenix profile, and it was her colleagues that paid for her studies. That is what you did. You gave them a fighting chance, and they are all employed, they are giving back to society, they are part of the economy, and they have you to thank. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Yanga, you can move on to that. Thanks so much. So if you don't know us yet, Phoenix, not the bird, it's broken up. I just have to always say that because people wonder why the name. So it's actually broken down. Kali, that can be your remembering thought. What are we? Niks fees. So niks, Afrikaans word for nothing, fee as in fees. And that's actually how the name came up. And a student came up with the name. So that's actually how our name was birthed. Yeah, Phoenix, niks fees. And like I said, we're with the 26 public universities. We have a very broad criteria. We are the only organization in South Africa that does both crowdfunding, where students can fundraise for their studies, no matter what year, no matter what their grades are, no matter if they have historical debt, current debt, they've graduated and are working and still need to pay off their fees. It's such a broad scope. And not only do we do crowdfunding, but we also do bursary administration with our corporate sponsors. We are the only organization in South Africa that does both, which means what bursaries don't cover, we can support through crowdfunding. And because we have thousands of students every year coming to Phoenix to fundraise for their studies, we can quickly match those students for our bursary partners. So it's become this beautiful synergy of how do we get as many students to graduate and out working and contributing towards national prosperity as possible. And again, none of this would be possible. We are a tiny non-profit organization, a small team based in Cape Town, and the only way we can successfully serve all 26 universities is because of you. Your championship, your commitment. To date, in all the 7 years that I've been with Phoenix, we do a discovery survey with our student and we say, how did you find out about us? Every single year, you are the top reason. They say through the university. That's how I found out. The second one is through friends and colleagues. So it's all word of mouth, and very little of it is actually social media. Okay. Let me keep going. Thanks so much. So in terms of what places Phoenix uniquely, I think today has been so amazing in terms of insights, and a lot of important things were touched on by all of our speakers. And thank you, Mzwake, for the shout out. We appreciate it. But I think it's important to address those challenges and where the gaps are, because we share in your frustration. So because we've got quite a broad scope of how we support students, we can support the missing middle. We can support postgrads, we can support those with historical debt, and your graduates who have now graduated, have historical debt, can't get their degrees, want to go work, and still need support, because family tax is real. I'm still paying family tax. So even when they are working, no, my mom's retired, has 4 kids, living her best life. So I think that places us quite uniquely on top of the traditional funding opportunities as well. And then in terms of the database of students, are students willing to take the risk? Or do they know about Phoenix? We've had over 15,000 students successfully create fundraising profiles on Phoenix because they want to give it a shot. And I think that really shows their bravery and their appetite for something new and more innovative solutions. And I do find this quite an interesting stat. So we looked at 2024 students. We just over 2,000 students that are fundraising for their studies this year from your universities. The total debt on our platform is 148 million rand, just from those few students, 148 million. And I mean, UJ is sitting on like over 1 billion rand. So I know this might seem like a fraction, but from a small organization that's attracted and the debt is that high, we all are part of doing something about it. Okay, so next slide. Thanks so much. So what impact have we created together so far? So over the past few years, we've been able to raise just over 192 million rand, sponsoring the students that couldn't qualify for any other kind of funding. So those are over 4,233 students, and our numbers go up every quarter, but those are 4,233 students that didn't have any other hope. And that really makes a difference. And since we've evolved over the years, we started with only crowdfunding, we expanded into bursary management, and we've also expanded our services. So we do the full holistic support. So whatever donors want to fund, we actually, as Phoenix, we have a partnership with Wafunda and Black Bullion South Africa, where all of our students have access to a gamified financial literacy platform, and we have students that are now teaching their families how to budget. So they actually have enough money to reach the end of the month. They are choosing wiser decisions in relationships. We've had students make horrific decisions in a relationship with their finances, and through this financial literacy platform, they've really made a change. and are feeling a lot more confident about their financial situation. So holistically, we do a lot from our side within the PBO space, but we have a lot of our corporate partners that are supporting learning devices, mental health support, accommodation, tuition. So we try to encourage them that, like we were saying, there is a shortfall, and it's about them also workshopping with them to say it can't be an exclusive bursary. If you're not going to cover everything, you need to be willing to take on a blended financing approach. So maybe you're willing to cover their tuition, but you need to be okay with us connecting them to other donors that maybe one will cover stipends, one will cover mental health support, one will cover the cap of their accommodation or the shortfall of their accommodation. So we work very closely with our donors to start expanding their mind around not wanting to claim a student and know this is mine, even if I can't fully fund them, but really start to expand their mind and make sure that all students can cross the line. Okay. This is some interesting insights that we recently got that I think really just further affirms the struggles that we're seeing with everyone on the ground. So why Phoenix is a really big champion amongst our donors and our corporate donors, our high net worth individuals, our everyday people like you and me, is because historical debt is not going away. And it is such a hindrance to students being able to get employment. So we did a recent study with our alumni, and what we found with our alumni, this is 6 months post them graduating, of those that graduated with a degree, 15% of them have formal employment 6 months later. Of those that graduated without a degree because of their historical debt, only 5% of them got formal employment. We also saw a significant correlation between the earning potential. Those with a degree earn a lot more than those without. Many of the students without their degree are taking on informal employment, volunteer work, side hustles, because employers won't take them on. This is something that impacts us as a nation and something we need to be lobbying with the BBBE Commissioner, with government, to say there needs to be a stance made that historical debt must be covered. If you care about students, if you care about graduation, if you care about youth employment, you need to care about historical debt. So let's join forces in that. I've been speaking to Kali about we really need to start lobbying in that way, and Phoenix is first hand up out front. We're happy to be a part of that conversation. Okay, next. Okay, so this is not to evoke a sense of competition. This is about best practices. So for us, really, why we wanted to chat to everyone today is how can we as Phoenix improve in our relationships with universities? Because the only way that more and more students who are needing support are going to be findable and fundable is if you are telling them about us, so that they come to us and we then can work with them and match them to the right donor. So what we did is we looked at our top 5 universities that have received the most funds and impacted the most students so far, and Wits came up top, so they they just under 40 million rand that they've received from Phoenix to date. And then very closely together is University of KwaZulu-Natal, University of Limpopo, DUT, and CUT. And when we looked at what is it within those relationships that made that difference and put them in the top 5 across provinces, it was really about internal championship, financial aid, being advocates for Phoenix, having marketing material, having the Phoenix link on the student portal, sending out email correspondence, inviting us to student orientation or activations. So it was really about how best can we show up and immerse ourselves in your community and connect with students, and how do we build this championship within financial aid and student finance so that when students are coming to you, like with the new year coming up and registration period, you want to be a beacon of hope, and you are that. I loved what was said earlier this morning, where you are educators, you are mentors, you are advocates. You know, you are those heroes of hope. And so let Phoenix be a part of that. Let us be that partnership where they don't qualify for NSFAS, or NSFAS is somewhat unreliable, and they might not qualify for other traditional things. Say, well, have you tried fundraising on Phoenix? Here's their email, get a hold of them, they've got you. Work with them. Hands up, fundraising is not for everyone, but it gives them a shot. It helps put the power back in their hands, and at least they're not sitting in a place of hopelessness and potentially dropping out. So how can we be a part of keeping them in their education and walking out with a degree? So I think, again, these are some suggestions that we have, but we are exceptionally co-creative. We want ideas from you. Younger and I, Younger, wave to everyone. She's here in the corner behind the pillar. Young is our student advancement manager. We will be at the back tomorrow and for the rest of the conferences. We've actually brought student flyers, posters, some collateral, which you can take a pack, take it back to your campus, leave it in your offices for students. But we want to work with you as much as we can, but we're just give us some ideas. But this is what we've seen works and what we suggest. So again, we speak about there's marketing that can be done. How do we increase voice and visibility on campus? You guys have campus radio. You're doing podcasts. You've got screens on campus. You've got email, student portal. There's so many ways where we can create vibey content. I'm going to walk off very soon. Financial aid champions, that's all of you. Knowing about us and just referring your students to us, and we've got the rest. And then this, I think, for me, are the things that I want to focus on most. What we've realized, and one of the pains that you have, is donors or partners like ourselves will come to you and say, look, we've got funding available, can you give us a list of students? But you then need to go and get consent from the students first, and that can take time. So not only are you screening on your system, you need to get additional consent, and then that might delay the process. So what we would love to pitch or recommend is there a way when students come in at the beginning of each year, some universities I know already have this in place, but having a database where students opt in, they give consent ahead of time, they are able to provide their guardian's ID number, because we do a household income check and that requires a guardian's ID number, and that also causes a lot of delays in their screening. How do we collect that kind of information proactively ahead of time so that by the time you have donors or partners like us ready to match your students, you can just say, here's my list. These are the ones that have opted in. To anyone that's willing to fund them, you can communicate with them. And then it's just maybe like an SMS system or WhatsApp or an email to be like, hey guys, Phoenix will be contacting you, just a heads up. Because spam is real and students are very paranoid about spam, so we do need that additional heads up from you. But I think that for us would make it a lot easier to match. And then recons and reallocations, I'm not going to get into it, but we have spoken about it, about there will be students that get multiple bursaries at the same time, and just being proactive in us flagging it and rather reallocating the funds to another student in need. So we're sharing the wealth, and let's continue to meet, have conversations, share insights, because at the end of the day, we're here to serve our students together, and it's not something that Phoenix does in isolation. We do it as you guide and inform us, and our strategy is actually built around your insights, which is one of the reasons why we are here every year. So that is us. I just want to, again, you can go to the next slide. You can go to the last one. I just again want to say that we're all in this together because we believe that access to education should not be dependent on wealth. I want to thank you and honor you for the amazing, tireless work that you do. And let's continue to improve. Let's continue to make a difference. And let's continue to live out a life of purpose. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was a mouthful. But thank you for that contribution. I think we got the message, and we'll carry it forward. Yeah. We are doing good on time, by the way. This is the part where I say, you're a good audience. Yeah. Give yourself a hand. You can do that, yeah. Yeah, you see? Say to the person again next to you, support. Nah, that's fine. Colleagues, we have come to almost the end part of today's discussion. Did you get some value from that today? Was there something that raised up that lion in you and lioness in you, saying we can do it? You know, all is not doom and gloom. Yes, there's a challenge. Yes, there's a battle, that we will have to take on, but we can do it together. You agree with me? Yes. You agree with me? Yes. It's getting quiet further down, but I like it. It's a Mexican wave. Colleagues, this is the part where we're going to just announce one or two things. Let's say dinner. Yeah, we're going to have a network dinner tonight, But there's just a few logistical things that I have to just let fall in place. And please, somebody just guide me if I'm losing something. Those of you that have not picked up your goodie bag, right? If you haven't done that, so there will be an opportunity afforded for you right after this. So this is the role. What will happen is when we leave here, you're going to still have your tea outside. Say with me, tea. Yeah. You will still have your tea, and then from there, after that, our team will open up from 16 to 17 at the previous place where you're supposed to do your registration and collect your goodie bag. Those of you that didn't do so would like to engage our team there, they will be there, or we will be there, and we will then be able to assist you until promptly 5 o'clock. Those of you who have got modern watches, 1700 hours. All right, on the dot. Right? And then on top of that, then tomorrow morning, it's not a double. Hey, tomorrow morning, if you couldn't do it today or yesterday, tomorrow morning at 7:30 sharp until 8:40 sharp. Don't be late. All right? So that is your opportunity where you can do that, to collect your goodie bag or sort something out as far as the goodies are concerned. So now the procedure will be that you will go to your tea, and then remember for the network dinner, I think FAPSA Exco, it's going to be here. Yeah, it's on the same floor. Don't get lost. It's on the same floor here. All right, it will be in there. And then the 6:30. And then the dress code is smart casual. But try to be comfortable. Try to be blue and white. What is it? Denim and white. Right? Denim and white. Don't forget. You see? I'll send you back. And then there's no, what is the control? Nothing. It's fine. Yeah. The only thing also, colleagues, please, remember this morning we had the house rules. If you can please continue to carry your little thing around your neck. It's for your own safety and good. They said that to us when we were at school. Please continue to wear that. Because that's a sign of, excess and whatever and control. Can you promise to do that, please? Yes. Pinky swear. All right. You've been a good audience. Thank you so much. Thank you to our presenters. You can give them a hand again. Please pass our exhibitors at the back. And tomorrow, before you go, we are starting at 9 sharp. I'm going to close the door if you are not here. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, please, colleagues, enjoy.